we knew that one of the ingredients of our success had to be low cost. So our first corporate offices, we borrowed from the little Fairfield Inn nearby. We went in every morning and sort of waited for the business people to finish up having their coffee, and as they began to leave, we sort of moved in and closed the area off, and that became the first real corporate offices of our company. We had a favorite place named Po Folks over on Old National. That's where we went almost every day because they knew when we were coming. They gave us a table where we could get off and draw the plan out on napkins and have some good home cooking at a very affordable price.
First thing, we had no computers, we had no tables, we had no
cleaners, caterers, no crew scheduling.
We started booking reservations at the end of the first week. We were taking cash over phone. Checks over the phone.
to be sent in to the home office.
Putting reservations on hold for what was supposed to be 48 hours, but by the time we collected the money, the passenger had already flown. We were getting checks and we didn't know what to do with them. They were coming in the mail, Federal Express.
Yep.
It was fun. It was interesting back then.
We had 3 destinations that we flew on 2 airplanes.
Well, we didn't have a plane.
Right, we know that.
We didn't have a plane because we were waiting.
Of the plane.
Right, they told us that the plane was coming.
My wife and myself and my daughter, we decided we'd just ride out to the airport one day. So we came over to see concourse, and as we arrived over there,
There was one airplane sitting on the concourse parked parallel to the concourse.
And we go outside, standing on the landing, looking
for
up,
the plane.
trying to see the plane go over because we've taken all these reservations. We don't know where we're going to put these people, and we were hoping that the plane come.
And it was the first value jet aircraft. And I looked down and I could see the airplane I was going to be flying. And I saw this little powder blue airplane down there with a critter on the side. And I said, man, look at that. I'm going to be flying that plane right down there, the value jet plane. That's a new airline starting up.
The mini-evac is a term given to an exercise that an airline has to go through in order to get certified. The way it operates is 3 flight attendants are put on the airplane. The goal is when a signal is given, all of the usable exits must be opened within 15 seconds. And we went into action and ran to our exits, opened them, blocked them, did whatever was required. And I understand that our FAA, Chief FAA Inspector, who was responsible for the drill that night, looked at Lewis and said, Mr. Jordan, do you have another slide ready to go? And Lewis said, yes, sir, we do. And the FAA man says, well, put it away. They made it.
Well, an interesting part of the startup of ValueJet was the fact that we were the first and only ticketless airline in the country.
You didn't really know what to expect. You just, customer showed up, and if his name was on the manifest, and that was it. And then, gee, today, if you ask for a paper ticket, the airline's going to charge you $25.
Interestingly enough, one of our partners, Maury Gallagher, was the man who thought ticketless made a lot of sense. I thought it was a step too far. It was ahead of its time. And I was negotiating to not do ticketless, to wait and see how our startup was before we brought ticketless in. And each one of us put up $1 million to fund the startup of the company apiece. And it came down to where Maury said, if we don't do ticketless, I'm not putting in my $1 million. Conversely, they were concerned about starting up in Atlanta because, you know, there is an airline in Atlanta that has over 600 jet departures a day. They said, why do we have to attack the greatest repository of airline power in the world? And I said, well, because I know it'll work in Atlanta, and if we don't do Atlanta, I'm not putting up my $1 million. And so that's how we both conceded that point. And it ended up, we were exactly right to do ticketless and exactly right to do Atlanta.
Nobody told us that we weren't supposed to be able to do what we did. We had a great time. We didn't know how it was going to turn out on day one, but it didn't take long until these DC-9s started filling up with people. And there were more than 2 DC-9s, and then we were a real airline.
There is an element of satisfaction that comes with being part of an entrepreneurial company and using your creativity.
In the early days, I was dubbed as Captain Value. because somebody had to do it. Somebody had to take the role as Captain Value, defender of low fares.
It was different from any place that I've ever worked. We had to procure our own parts, order them, go pick them up from the stock room, install them, inspect them, and inspect the work, and take care of everything that was to do with the maintenance of the aircraft.
Starting AirTran actually occurred to get out from under the major carriers' direct control and auspices. We wanted to go out and create and do things, and it was really to create and make a successful company without a major carrier's influence. We thought that the hub bypass strategy would work. As a parent, I'd much rather go nonstop to Disney World or Universal Studios than make a trip through a hub and have to worry about my little kids running around an airport. And we could also save the passenger money and time, so we thought it was a lot more convenient that way to just go nonstop, and the strategy worked, and people did come and they did fly on us.
One of the proudest moments I had at ValueJet, and there were many, clearly, was when we took the company public in June of 1994. Here's an airline that was only at that time 7 months old and went public, and that's phenomenal. And it was a very stirring thing, and I took a lot of pride in that, and all of the employees and people at ValueJet did too.
For me, one of the very proudest moments was the first day we flew after this airline had been shut down by the government. What was demonstrated by the people of this company who refused to give up, who pulled together through that difficult period of time and said, we will fly again, and we'll fly better than ever. We'll be back in the air, we'll serve the public, we'll continue to do what we've always done, put safety number one, taking care of the customer, being sure that everybody continues to enjoy the fun and friendly environment, made me extremely proud.
I was coming into work that morning, and you know, typically you don't see rainbows except for in the afternoon, and I was coming up 85, getting on 285 to come around to the office, and there was a plane taking off, and as I looked, there was a rainbow over the plane, and I was like, fly, critter, fly, because everything had been so precarious at that point, and it was just such a good feeling to know that, you know, we had weathered the storm and we were going to make it.
I've never been to New York, and I got a chance to go, and just to be on the floor at the New York Stock Exchange, for me, was great, because I'd never been to New York, never wanted to go, but going with the team that I went with, the management team, that was wonderful.
I distinctly remember one of our captains telling me after we had been flying for a couple of years that he remembered when he first came into the office for his interview, and he said, who's that guy emptying the trash over there? And they said, well, that's our president. And he said, I knew this was the place I wanted to work.
It was almost like a family atmosphere, very entrepreneurial. Just get it done, do whatever it takes to make it happen.
And I think successful companies have a corporate culture that is defined, that people think about.
The thing with both ValueJet and AirTran is you're able to wear a lot of different hats. You're able, I guess, to expand and do a lot more things than I would have if I'd gone to one of the larger airlines.
One of the marketing things was to start a kiosk at North Point Mall, and I ran that kiosk. We would sell mugs and T-shirts and whatever was available at that particular time, but we also made reservations. And we booked various reservations for the people, and at the same time, we did a lot of marketing. We'd go over and talk to people and tell them about the airline and try to get the kids over to play with the little critters that we had and everything. It was great.
Most of us did that on a volunteer basis. We were excited enough and dedicated enough. I mean, I know that I went to Indianapolis and spent a weekend, you know, at a travel expo promoting the company, and people had never heard anything about us, and you know, handing out critter stickers and timetables, and it was exciting to be part of something that was new.
People just took care of this airline. It was like watching the children grow up and grooming them and helping them make it. That's exactly how everyone felt about this airline. We just loved it. It was very much a part of us.
When I think of the airline today, I think of all the opportunity, all the great success that they've had so far, and I think of the almost 6,000 jobs that the airline provides and the professionals that run service every day, day in and day out to our passengers, and I just go, wow, the company has touched the lives of so many people, both passengers and employees. I think of the tremendous leadership under Joe Leonard and Bob Finaro, and I basically just take my hat off and say congratulations to all the employees of AirTran and congratulate you on your 10th anniversary.
I'm proud to be here tonight because it's amazing what this company's done in 10 years. From starting from a very small company up to the company we are now, and who knows what the future's going to bring. It looks like we're really going to be growing, so it's very, very exciting.
Thinking back on how small we were in the beginning and how big we are now, you know, there's some self-satisfaction in knowing that I was a part of that.
You know, I'm so proud to just be involved with the company. I think that the baby that Louis and I brought has grown to something far beyond what we dreamed. And I think that the management team, Joe Leonard, Bob Finaro, his management team, all the crew members, when I am out riding the airline, I am proud to say that I was a part of this airline in the early days. And it's become one of the premier carriers in the industry, and I'm just so proud to say I was there when it started.
You can set your own destiny in this company. Just keep striving and give it your all. We're looking for the best. And if you think you're the best, just hang in there and you'll shine.
Somebody told me when I first started with an airline, they said, you'll either love it or you'll hate it, but if you love it, it'll get in your blood and it won't ever leave. And that's how I feel.
And I have to tell you that, like everyone else, I feel very much a part of this company. And I'm proud to be here. I feel like I grew along with the company.